Hello my friends, this is Miss Jenkins, your art teacher, and I'm here with you today to work on our sort of Halloween project. And some of you might recognize this. This is a Dia de los Muertos skull image, and that's the Day of the Dead. It's sort of a religious, spiritual holiday that Hispanics celebrate that honors their ancestors. And it's a really beautiful sort of time of year in the culture because there's just so much color and so much beautiful imagery and symbolism. And if you have ever seen the movie Coco, you know what I'm talking about. So we are going to work on our sugar skull today. So what you're going to need first is you'll need some paper. And I think a square sheet of paper is probably the best, but a rectangle is fine also. You'll need a black marker. You'll need colored markers, so just regular colored markers is fine. You'll also need a pencil and an eraser. What else? I think that's it. Maybe a skinny black pen or black Sharpie in case you'd like to add some designs that are in black and white. All right, so let's begin by drawing our skull, okay? We're going to start up here, sort of not the very top of the paper, but a little bit lower. We're going to draw our top of the head, or top of the skull. So you want it to be like a nice sort of even curve at the top there. And that curve is going to come down as though you're trying to make a full circle, but you're not going to make a full circle. You're going to stop before you continue. And once you stop, and remember it's coming in, your lines are coming in a little bit, then you'll come down straight, and again down straight on this side. And then you'll do a curve down here that brings it together. The curve down here is not as round as the curve at the top, okay? Once you have that, I'm gonna go ahead and start using my black marker so you can see really clearly what I've done. Then you can start adding your elements of design. Now, with this image, you're actually going to do a frame around it because a lot of the imagery includes like decorative frames. So we're gonna actually create a frame, but you can do the frame however you want, okay? You do not have to do the frame like I do. You can do it however you want, okay? So I'm just gonna do this sort of wavy style frame that just goes around my entire piece of paper. Turn it a little bit and do the bottom. Turn it some more. I'm always going to turn my paper so that I can comfortably draw without having too many issues. And you pause the video if you need to, slow down, take your time to do what you need to do in order to create something you're satisfied with. Okay, so there is my black frame that I'm going to have. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my features within my skull and on the outside background area. So the first thing I like to do is find the very center of my skull and just come down just a little bit from that center and create my skull nose, which looks like sort of a longer upside down heart. Can you guys see how that looks like a upside down heart? And the next thing you're gonna do is to the right and the left of the nose, above the nose, you'll do your first circular eye, and you'll do a second one as well. And you can add an element if you want to make it even more interesting, like I added a second line. And I'm gonna go ahead and create little flower petals that go around my eyes because there's a lot of floral imagery in this style of art. Okay, I'm going to then add, I'm going to do a decorative sort of spider web design on the top of the head here. I'm going to do a little heart that is not upside down, it's right side up, and a line that goes vertically up like that. And another one coming from the same heart, but now at a diagonal. And another one, and another one. So I've got my first vertical line plus 3 diagonals that all kind of stream out from my heart. So, and I'm always trying to stay as symmetrical as I possibly can, trying to compare the right side to the left side and trying to make it look symmetrical. Now, in order to create sort of the spider web effect, you do these curved lines, very similar to what you see here on the frame, but you curve these lines and you connect them all the way through. And then you do it again, just below, always connecting one to the other and making sure it's actually curving. And if you have space to do a 3rd row of that, you do the same exact thing again. All right, from there, I'm gonna go ahead and create my mouth. And the mouth is going to be a long, slightly curved element that goes below the nose. And I'm gonna build my teeth on top and on the bottom of that line. So if you start in the middle, your 2 largest teeth will be in the middle, and they're just curved side by side. And then I'm going to keep adding teeth and get a little bit smaller as I get to the edge. Can you see how I got smaller there? I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to get a little bit smaller as I reach the end. And then for me, it's easier to just turn it upside down and sort of do the exact same thing on the bottom. But ultimately, you're doing the same thing on the bottom. You'll go down with your bigger teeth, and they'll be a little bigger, and as they move over to the edge, they get smaller. So a little smaller, a little smaller, a little smaller, a little smaller, a little smaller. And now you've got your mouth. Good job, everybody. Okay, so now I'm gonna start to create some designs. This is where you get to have a lot of freedom, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and do this wavy line around my flower petals and do the same thing on this side to create that symmetry. And then I'm gonna create a half circle there with some pointed petals. And boys and girls, this is just an example. You can do your own interesting patterns on your own drawing, okay? And I'm gonna do some leaves on the stem that's coming off of that flower. I'm gonna do another half circle over here and do the same pointed petaled flower. And my stem. And the stem is not exactly the same, but thematically it's the same on both sides. What else do I want to do? I'm going to put a heart inside this eye. And I'm going to put a dot in the middle of that eye and come out and do that, like a radial thing. And maybe I'll do another flower down here, a different kind of flower coming off of the mouth. And then I'm gonna stop there and focus on my background. So I did bones in my background, so I'm gonna show you how to draw the bones, but you don't have to do the bones. You can definitely do a different kind of symbol. So I'm gonna do the same thing on 4 corners. Line, line. They're parallel, and then I come curve like that and kind of come in a little, and then a second curve that completes it like that. And then on this corner, same thing, parallel lines, curve, and the next piece starts there. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. So again, parallel diagonal lines, curve, and then curve. And notice how I'm spinning my paper to accommodate my design so that I can confidently create as much symmetry as possible. Curve and then curve. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this sort of floral pattern around my bone. So I'm going to sort of create these petals that go around and end at the head. Same thing over here. Again, I want to create symmetry as much as possible. Turn my paper so I'm comfortable with how I'm drawing at the angle that I'm comfortable with. And this will differ radically for everybody. It's all about your comfort and what you feel confident doing. So now I have that. I'm going to create these little sort of teardrop looking shapes within each of those little petals, just to add another element of design. Now you should be doing this with pencil. I'm just doing it with my Sharpie so that you can see clearly what I'm doing. But you would do everything with pencil and then come back and color everything in with colors and then outline with your black Sharpie at the end. If you don't use a Sharpie and you go ahead and you draw with a black marker that bleeds, when you go in with your colored markers, it's going to cause your colors to smear and get really dirty from the black. So I suggest that you outline everything in black at the end. I am just doing this so you can see really well what it is that I'm doing, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and outline the outside of my skull, which I started in pencil. Okay, and now, my friends, I am ready to color. I think I'm going to do one more little thing. I'm going to sort of frame my floral thing with a double sort of layer. I don't know, I just feel like doing that. So if you want to do this too, you can. And you can see how it gets cropped a little bit because of my frame in certain corners, and that's okay. It's minor. It's not a problem. Okay, now that I'm done with my design, I can then start adding my color. Now, you are just gonna you're gonna color it however you want. I'm not gonna color it with you in the video because I know you can do that by yourself. But here is my finished example. You can see that I did in the background, these two colors match, these two colors match. I've created symmetry with the four corners, with my bones, and with the background behind the bones. And then I just kind of did my own thing inside. So you can decide, the skull will have like a main color, but then everything else on top of it will be different. I added some black teeth to mine. You can do that as well. I hope you have a blast making this. I can't wait to see what you come up with. I enjoyed making it now twice. So have a great time and post your pictures on Seesaw when you are finished. All right, guys, see you soon. Bye.